team of victory. When all I see is the mountain, you see a mountain move. And as I walk through the shadow, your love surrounds me. There's nothing to fear now, for I am safe with you. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees, with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. And if you are for me, who can be against me? For Jesus, there's nothing impossible for you. When all I see are the ashes, you see the beauty. When all I see is a cross, God, you see the empty tomb. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees, with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you.
Almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadows, you win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. Almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadows, you win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God.
Almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadows, you win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees, with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. And every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. When I fight, I'll fight on my knees, with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Oh God, the battle belongs to you.
I was reading in the Bible the other day in 1 Corinthians 5, where Paul is dealing with the church, which has a man in it who was sleeping with his father's wife. Super inappropriate. And he tells them when they come together next, they need to get this man and kick him out of their church into the hands of Satan. We have a similar idea in 1 Timothy chapter 1. Around verse 18, Paul is telling Timothy how he has handed over two blasphemers to the devil to teach them not to blaspheme. And this is, of course, a nightmare idea, that you would be handed over to the devil and that he would have power to destroy your flesh for a beneficial reason. However, we know that this probably isn't like your physical flesh. It's probably the part of you that is sinful. But either way, how is it that the devil has power to hurt you, even if it is for a greater good? And the idea kind of comes down to, there's two kingdoms. There's the kingdom of God, which is the church, and there's the kingdom of the devil, which is the world. And if you are in the kingdom of God, then you don't have to worry about what the devil wants to do to you. He doesn't have power over you. He doesn't get to hurt you the way that he wants to. But if you're not under the protection of Jesus' blood, then bad things can happen. This idea goes pretty far back. The whole idea of the Judaic people was to be separate, to be God's people, to not eat the things that they eat, to not intermarry with them, to not worship their gods. So this is kind of an entrenched idea at the time that Jesus comes around and then eats with sinners. He hangs out with them, he parties with them, he forgives them of their sins on the street, non-Jewish people. He breaks the Sabbath. He's doing all these things. So of course, what's one of the big things that the Pharisees accuse him of? It's being of Satan. They're saying that his power to heal comes from the devil. And it's kind of a juxtaposition of ideas here. Like what is really going on? We have Paul. He's our main model for evangelism. He condemns the need for Christians to be circumcised, and then when he goes to evangelize to Jews, he circumcises Timothy. We believe that Jesus is God, that our God is God. When he goes to the Greeks, he talks to them in a way that they would understand. He talks to them in terms of their Greek gods. He says that our God is represented by their altar to the unknown God, or at least he uses it as sort of a way to get through to them. Like, what is he doing? Is that something that if we did that now, would that be seen as being in the world? And I think it's a lot easier to focus on not being of the world, in the world but not of it part. And I think that still kind of continues, that's maybe the default for a lot of Christians. I think of an example working at a camp. I loved working there. It was a great time. One of the jobs that I had was recreations director, where I would try to get an idea across to the kids in a fun way that would help them to remember that core idea. So, for example, if we had a message that evening that was going to be about the family of God, then I would do a theme that was about hillbillies and solving the family feud, and have games that focused on teamwork. And on this specific day, it was about the treasure of heaven. So it was jungle theme, and we were going to play games that involve finding diamonds and hiding them and stuff. And it was lunchtime. I just sent the kids out. We usually played like a fun kind of upbeat song that was thematically appropriate, but didn't have any swearing or mature themes or anything like that. It was probably the line "Sleeps Tonight" by Tokens. And the kids were rocking out and leaving, and I was running off to do something. I went up to my room to get something, and I saw one of the parent volunteers, and he popped out of his room down the hall, and he beckoned me over, and so I came over to see what he wanted, and he welcomed me into his room, and he took out a box of cookies. Now, those of you that have worked at camp know that cookies, as much as you might love cookies, in the real world, the normal outside camp world, in camp world, cookies, they're the treasure. The theme was about treasure, and I had found it, which was a guy that was going to give me cookies. And he sat me down on the bed across from him. He's sitting on a chair, and opened the box, offered me the box. I took the cookies. I'm eating the cookies, and he says, I brought you in here to talk to you about something to do with the music that you were playing. And he was concerned about what music I had picked. He didn't like seeing the kids rocking out to non-Christian music. He liked them dancing, but not unless it was specifically to a music that was from a Christian artist. Never mind the fact that it was all appropriate and there's nothing. We never played like bad music for kids. He wanted to be specifically Christian music because of the fear that music of this world was going to have a bad effect on them, like the messages that were coming in. It was hard to remember everything he said because I was so into the cookies. But he gave me this suggestion. I said, thank you for your input. And I took a sleeve of the cookies and then I left. And I went and talked to the boss about it. I got a lot of suggestions from a lot of different people, and I typically did what I wanted. But this was a parent volunteer, so it was a bit more important, I thought. And I talked to the boss about it, and he said something that kind of stuck with me, which was, as Christians, we can't just give everything to Satan. And that kind of went against a lot of what I had learned growing up, that, it was almost worse to give stuff to the devil that he didn't already have power over. We know that the devil roams around like a lion to seek and steal and destroy. But he doesn't have to steal from all of us, because some of us just give him everything. And I think the application for what I'm saying is, I want you to question yourself, where does the devil have power in your life now? Is it a greater victory for the devil to have a Christian partake in Halloween or a certain type of music or media or whatever? Or is it a greater victory if the Christian remains insular and doesn't go into the world and doesn't share his faith? Now, of course, you don't have to partake of certain types of media to be an evangelist. But what's the one thing that Christians, that you as a Christian and Christians in general want to be known for and are known for? Right now, if I tell somebody that I'm a Christian, I've had this experience many times where I say I'm a Christian and then they say, oh, so you can't drink. Oh, so you can't party. Oh, so you can't have fun. So you can't participate. You can't be... The main thing that was defined to them about Christians was a bunch of rules of things that we can't do to remain insular and to remain pure. So if there's one thing that we should be known for, I think it's our love. So it's the beginning of 2021. You can kind of pick the trajectory you want for the year. And I guess the application is, think about where's the devil had victory in your life, and go in the opposite way. Thanks very much for your time. I hope you have a great February.